Hello everyone and welcome back to another Universe Sandbox video, and today we're going to be creating and evolving an alternate reality version of the solar system from birth to death. So it's been a while since we've done one of these. Basically, if you've not seen one of these before, it's where we create the solar system from scratch, but we change a few things. So for instance, we could make Jupiter not the biggest planet. We could make, say, Neptune the largest planet instead. We could stop Earth and Theia colliding and have both planets orbiting in the system. We could have Triton never captured by Neptune, things like that. So yeah, today I've got some ideas to make this one pretty interesting. So right now, as you can see, Proto-Sun got its planetary disk, of course, of all the material to form planets. Should be interesting. But yeah, I've got some ideas of what we could do here. So without further ado, everybody, let's do this. So, first planet to form. Do we do Jupiter or do we not? Well, I have an idea. I'm going to give one of the more interesting planets a bit more attention. Okay, so I'm thinking for this one, instead of Jupiter or even Saturn, I'm thinking Uranus being a more dominant object for a change, as it is currently the least massive of all of the gas giants in our solar system. So Uranus, there it is, 14.5 masses of Earth, current in its normal real life form, but in this alternate reality, Uranus is going to become the dominant object. So let's go ahead and place it in. So our first Uranus, and of course we need to obviously customize it and put it up to spec. So if we can find Uranus, that would be great. There it is. Okay, so Uranus, all the way down here. There is the young Uranus. But of course, it's going to look a little different. And it's also going to be a lot bigger. So there you go. 1.46 Jupiters. I'm not feeling it. Let's go to about 1.1 Jupiters of mass in Uranus. So compared to its normal form, 351 Jupiters of mass. Its orbit area. Let's go ahead and go down here. I'm not putting it this roughly at its normal distance here. I'm not having that. We're going to plop it down a little lower. 20. So it's going to have a whole different kind of look to its normal appearance, Uranus here. So, there it is. 20-year orbit, 7 AU current distance. Maybe it needs to be a little closer than that. You know, maybe this technically ain't going to be so much of an ice giant no more, with it being picking up most of the hydrogen. So, no, for instance, composition here. I think this is going to be a little different. As you know, hydrogen. We're going to obviously make this a little bit more. Hydrogen is the main element in Uranus now. So, where are we? Back to Jupiter. I need to change the mass a bit. Let's just quickly lower it back to where it was, about 1.1. Yeah, that's fine. So hydrogen is the prominent, still has a lot of the water ammonium effect. Still, if you look at the composition there, hydrogen is the brown. Still got a lot of water in there, so it's kind of like a hybrid of gas and ice giant. So it should be an interesting appearance on this. But of course, I'm going to have to change. I want to change this composition and these colours a bit, because maybe it's still a little blue for my liking. So maybe this Uranus needs to have a different appearance than normal. So there we go. Radius-wise, how large is it? 0.8 Jupiters, so a little more dense, you know, not as large as the normal Jupiter. Should be interesting. Okay, 20-year orbit, I'm feeling a little less. Let's put it around the 5 AU mark. So maybe Uranus will be the inner of the gas world in this simulation. We will see. So there's our young Uranus for now. We'll get to customizing once all the objects are placed for these. Currently warming up this Uranus. It definitely won't be keeping that shade of blue, that's for sure. We're definitely going to have a few more tweaks done to this. I'll probably, I'll modify the bands. I think that should be interesting. Can also change the contrast and things as well. Very interesting. Okay, so there's our Uranus as the prominent object in this solar system. So, then obviously, we need to have the traditional worlds in here as well. So, Jupiter. Let's place that. But where do we place Jupiter? Does Jupiter form in a different region to normal? Uranus has formed first, so technically maybe we have Jupiter form a little further out in the Saturn region. Let's put orbits on so we can actually see. So there's Uranus's orbit there. If you look carefully, it is in there. So Jupiter, we're going to have you form further away. So let's place it about, say, there. Then you have Saturn, also forming in a nearby distance. And then Neptune at the end. But let's not forget, the fifth giant needs to also have an appearance here. So I'm going to also plop in good old Planet 9, the gas giant, in here. Or do we go with the fifth giant? Because I have a few versions. Where's the old fifth giant? It's in here somewhere. Let's see. Do I still have it saved? I should do. Let's have a look. I do have the 5th giant. So it appears slightly different to my planet 9. Let's, again, plot that in there as well. A little after the Saturn and Neptune regions. There's your gas giants. They're in there. Right, okay, so labels on. Okay, so you got your Jupiter. So, for instance, Jupiter, it's not going to have the mass. I'm going to put it down to 0.5 Jupiters here. So how much is that in Earths? 159 Earths. Do we do it? Maybe a little less. 150? So how much is that in normal Jupiters? Still a lot larger than Saturn normally. So I'm going to lower it a bit more. Maybe around, let's go to... I'm going to put it around 100 Earths. Because if you compare that to Saturn, Saturn's only about 59 Earths, or 95 Earths. So, yeah, I'm going to have Saturn a little less. Because Uranus has got more of that material this time. Obviously, the other gas giants are going to have less material than usual. So I'm going to lower Saturn down. Not as a... Yeah, there you go. Neptune. Oh, I've got 2 Neptunes. Oh, that's not quite right. No, we don't want 2 Neptunes. So Neptune... Yeah, so actually, I'm going to have Neptune... Yeah, so I'm going to get rid of the further out Neptune. I'm going to have the 5th giant as the last object in here instead of Neptune. So, you know, because, you know, some of the theories say Uranus was the last planet until Neptune migrated out and the 5th giant was in between them. So, yeah, Neptune is closer. Then we have the 5th giant. After, actually, no, 5th giant technically should be after Saturn, actually. So, no, so I think Neptune is going to be the last one in here. So, where are we? Let's get that 5th giant back. Wherever it is. Would help if I knew where it was, wouldn't it? There he is. Right, so I'm going to place that, yeah, after Saturn. I need to migrate the Neptune a little further out. It's a little too close to my liking. To where are we? So we're currently sitting at, yeah, so I'm going to move that a little further out. Down to about 18, so that's roughly where the Uranus present day is. A little further out. The 5th giant, I'm going to plop you in there as well. If I could select it, that'd be great. There you go. Maybe increase the mass on that guy a little bit. Let's also, yeah, increase further out. Oh, no, that's not quite right. If I just mess his orbit up a bit. I don't know if I did. Let's quickly go to the auto orbit. Just get it fixed. There you go. Okay, so 5th giant. I'm going to give you a little more mass than normal. I'm going to go up to about 40. So basically the normal Uranus mass. Neptune. So we're kind of having more mass overall in this sim. Neptune. I'm going to nerf Neptune a bit, actually. So where are we? Are we? So we've got the custom. I'm going to lower it down a bit. 14, about 13. Yes, so Neptune, the least masses of the gas worlds. So everyone's had a bit of an effect because of our dominant Uranus forming closer to the sun here. So there you go. So I think that's how 5 gas giants for the time being there. So there we go. Looking cool. So they're also going to start orbiting the sun. Let's have a few years of gas giants as the gas giants one first start, you know, eating up some of that material. Very nice. Okay, cool. So just a few orbits of those going around. Very nice. So you've got Uranus being the king in here. Very cool. 1000 Celsius on these in the early days of the system. There you go. Cool. Let's have a few years of that. So slow things down again. So now, gas giants are formed. Let's have some smaller worlds take place. So, again, if Uranus is here, well, that means there's got to be a kind of super Earth planet kind of out there that hit Uranus in our reality. But of course, if there's no Uranus for it to hit in this scenario, that means we're going to have a super Earth somewhere out here. So maybe a little further, maybe in between the 5th giant and Neptune, we place in the super Earth as the first rocky object to appear in here. So is there any template I could use, make it a little more interesting on the box? What do we go with? Have I got anything in here that could be worthy of placing? Could use one of the Star Wars planets as a template. That could be quite cool. Maybe like the Geonosis. Maybe I'll use this as like a cold desert kind of world. Let's try that. I'm going to place this as a... Well, see, this is... I'm going to... What should I call it? Maybe I'll call it like Planet X or something. So I'm going to place it around... orbiting the sun there. So there we go. Also, you need to rename it. So. Let's go to Planet X. Ah. Whoops. Yeah. There we go. 1.79 Earth's mass there. Has it got an atmosphere? I mean, we can come back to that once we get going. It does. Yes, there you go. Give it a bit of atmosphere for now. We can come back and customize it once we are fully settled. There you go. So the young Planet X, 1.79 Jupiters. Something about the size of Earth that hit Uranus potentially in our reality. Well, in this simulation, it does exist. So that will be Planet X for this simulation. Very nice. Okay. Now, also further out, the first of the dwarf planets are going to take form. So, Triton. A world that has not been captured by Neptune in this reality. Let's go ahead and place that in this, maybe this Kuiper Belt region as well. Let's go ahead and plop it there. There we go. We can come back to that again to customize at a later point. We've also got Pluto. Let's go ahead and place that in as well. There we go. Let's also slot it in somewhere. Yes. Maybe a little closer than Triton in that sort of region, though. Let's plop it around there. There you go. So all of the young dwarf planets we know and love. Let's go ahead and plop those in. So let's go to the minor tab. Have all those guys in there. Again, we'll get to customizing them once we get there. Very cool. I'm also going to have Titan as a lone planet that formed near the orbit of Saturn, but not necessarily around it. I'm going to plop Titan in there, but also it could be a world under threat here because it doesn't have the mass to hold on, so it could be a potential problem in the future. So where are we? So yeah, guys. So you also got your traditional, Maya. Let's go ahead and plop that in as well. Sedna. Yep. Let's use the nice custom Sedna I've got. Looking good. The far out object. We can place that in as well. Very nice. Very cool. Ceres, yes, Ceres. We'll get to the inner solar system shortly, actually. But there we go. So we've got some initial outer objects. We didn't place Make, and let's plop that in as well. Okay. And then we can also just have a few random dwarf planets just to make up the numbers. So, but we'll go random small moons, pretty much what we want, isn't it? So a few more sort of random dwarf planets out there as well for now. Okay. Right. As for the inner solar system, so closer than the orbit of Uranus now. We're going to have obviously the traditional 4. So, Mercury. Let's go to the custom. Right. First of all, Mercury. Where are I? So 1 AU. Well, Mercury wasn't necessarily formed where it exists now. So I'm going to place Mercury around 0.9 AU. 0.8, is it somewhere there? Venus, forming as the closest planet to the Sun here. Let's put it around 0. Roughly in its normal sort of appearance, potentially. We've got Mars as well. 1.4. And then obviously the Earth. Now the Earth needs to be a whole different kind of world here, but so I'm going to place Earth in its normal sort of, roughly its 1 AU region. So about there. But we're also going to have Theia take shape in here. So we're going to have a random rocky planet. Again, roughly in the 1 AU area. I'm going to put it at 1.03 AU there. There you go. We'll change that name in a minute. And then Ceres, the last of the inner worlds that I'm going to place. Obviously a little further out than Mars, but maybe it's going to eat up a bit more material here. We will see. Let's see how Ceres plays out. So, Ceres. Where are we? That's moons, isn't it? Minor. There he is. Right, so Ceres. 1.98 AU. There you go. So, that's your solar system for this scenario. So now, of course, planetary disk dissolves. There you go. So there is your simulation. The young sun, planets, of course, obviously Venus here. I'm actually going to completely nerf its atmosphere now because we need to get to customizing. Earth as well. One thing I want to do to Earth. It's not going to have that full Earth mass just yet. It's not the Earth we know yet. It's because it hasn't collided with Theia, so it doesn't have that full Earth mass. There's your Theia there. So there you go. Ceres, again. We're going to have this more massive than normal. Full-size planet, potentially. So where are we? Kilometers. A little bit bigger. There's a full planet there. 3100. It's a little smaller than the current Mercury. Mercury, I'm going to have you a little bigger than normal. There you go. Slightly larger. The Earth itself. Yes, there he is. Venus. Get rid of those letters. That's just my organisation system, as these are custom variants. So there we go. Again, they are going to be very heavily customised anyway. Mars. Growing as a full-size planet in this scenario, so a little larger than normal. 0.2 Earth masses, but it is larger in size. Maybe let's add a magnetic field to Mars, so it's going to be more protected than the normal Mars we know. So there we go. Let's add a little bit of action to it. This young Mars here, coming out of the formation. So there we go. Let's go with, turn it on, turn up a bit. And Mars protected in this scenario. There you go. The Earth obviously will spawn with one anyway. Theia, again. Same deal. Give it a magnetic field. That all depends if it lasts though. But there you go. Theia. Protected. Do it up to 2 Earths. The Earth itself, what's Earth got? 2.44. Yep. Venus, you know what? Why not? Let's give it a bit of extra protection. Let's go to... Maybe give Venus a big one. Let's go like 4. There you go. So big magnetic field there. Mercury as well. Again, we're going to give it a bit. It already has one, of course. Let's increase it a bit more. In this one. And Ceres. Again, a very magnetic field heavy inner solar system here. There we go. Or Saturn, Earth, sorry. Down. There you go. So all the inner worlds protected with magnetic fields in here. Remember, we also have Titan as a lone world in this early solar system. I'm going to give it a little more mass than normal, though. A little more size, making it a full-size sign of planet going on there. Looking very, very menacing in the darkness right now. Nice. Okay. Saturn. I can already see some orbitals may have had some changes here, actually. So there we go. Nice. Jupiter, again. Looking good. The fifth giant. Got Neptune in here as well. Looking good. Planet X, also a large world. And you've got the dwarf planets in the outer regions. So looking very, very cool. Okay. And that's pretty much everybody. And then you've got Triton as well, also existing out there. In the depths, again, I'll give it a bit more mass just to increase size. Maybe Sedna, make it a little bigger. Just to tweak up the dwarf planets a bit. Pluto as well. Currently in an interesting form, Pluto. But there we are. Then Uranus. So, like Jupiter kind of did in reality, we're going to shrink Uranus's orbit down a bit. And then Jupiter's kind of like follow it down a bit. You know, they always shrink us down, you know. There you go. Uranus. Right, and then the inner solar system forming as normal. So now, let's go ahead and save our simulation so we can come out of the formation for phase now. There we go. So Sun, fully inset, currently at 0.6. And then obviously the simulation itself, we're going to put the background temperature back down to 0. So our planets can cool down and we can start getting to customize these worlds. So first of all, we're going to start with Venus. Obviously cooling down a lot. It's very, very hot here. But first of all, that atmosphere, I'm wiping it out. We're going to put it down to a steady, let's go 1 ATM to begin with here. Composition, again, very different in the past. We're going to add a bit more material to Venus here. I'm going to wipe out that sulfur dioxide a bit. I'm going to lower the carbon dioxide. Water, I'm going to increase on Venus. Giving it a bit more inside. Maybe able to help it out in the early days. Nitrogen. Let's add a bit, maybe a bit of ammonia in there. Okay, that may have messed it up a bit. I had way too much mass there. So we may need to recustomize. Yeah, okay, that's fine. So there you go, Venus. A whole different form early on. The young Earth. A whole different world to what we know as well. The surface texture is not going to be obviously the current Earth map. So let's go with something different. What do we go with, though, is the question. Maybe a cratered world. The young Earth needs to look different. Let's go with my good old... Ooh, I don't know, actually. Io. The young Earth. Looking very volcanic. So a young Io surface on it. Obviously underneath a very, very thick atmosphere currently. Obviously fade that down a bit. There you go. Base colour. That needs to obviously change to elevation and custom. There you go. So the young Earth, not the Earth we know yet. There you go. Mercury as well. I forgot Mercury. Again, a different world to normal. Let's go ahead and add in some bonus stuff to it. So I would like to add let's add the composition of Earth to Mercury. So there you go. So it's going to give it a little extra in that department. Did it even add? Oi, add my stuff. Pressure and composition. Aha! There you go. So Mercury. Got some different bits and pieces there, the young Mercury. Should be interesting once that settles down. Mars. Again, a world that's got a lot more promise than normal. Again, let's go ahead and add. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with the... I see the pressure composition, isn't it? Let's add that in. But I'm also going to tweak some of these. So, for instance, Mars. Let's give it more oxygen. Maybe a bit more water than normal. Than the normal Earth. There you go. Interesting. Carbon dioxide. I'm also going to increase that a little bit. There you go. So the young Mars should be interesting. Ceres. Over to here as well. We're going to customize this one from scratch here because it obviously doesn't have much at all. So I'm going to add a bit of, going to be a little more mean to Ceres. So let's go to Earth Ocean Mass. Add a bit of sulfur dioxide in there. Oxygen. So it's going to be a bit of a mishmash of material here. It's going to have its carbon dioxide. Have you some water? Nitrogen. Let's go ahead and plop a bit of that in. Methane, that will be in there. A bit of argon as well, and also, of course, a bit of iron. A bit of old Ceres. 140 iron. Give it a bit of an iron core. There you go, Ceres. Will be a very, very interesting world once it settles down. So there we go. I'm also going to change the surface texture. Ceres' surface texture is a bit weird sometimes. Let's go with a fresh new look for it. Let's go with the rear texture. It's a little bit more interesting. So the young Ceres. A lot of promise there. We'll have to see how it does. Uranus. On to customising the gas giants now. It never got knocked on its side in this scenario, so this time round, no, we're not doing that. So there we go. And of course, it has a lot more hydrogen than normal, so it's not going to be so blue here. So I'm going to give it a full new re-look with its colours here. So arrow bands. I want to have a quick little reconfigure of these. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, everyone, so what do you think of this? So I've kind of kept Uranus's original kind of blue just in there to represent, you know, because it still has a lot of, it still has a lot of those ice giant material, you know, the water, ammonia, methane, it's still all in there, but, you know, hydrogen as the prominent colour, I've given it a more satin yellow appearance, but it's still keeping those blues, still mixing it all around there. So the young Uranus looking pretty interesting here, and of course, it was, like I said, it was never knocked on its side, so it is not rotating the wrong way or anything. So Uranus, a very, very interesting dynamic new world here. We're going to change its interface colour to more of a, I think more of a yellow shade, really. So that's the dominant colour on our new Uranus. So very, very interesting look to Uranus there. It's obviously still got a bit of the blue in there. Ooh, I don't know, just why not change? I think that little blue band in the middle, maybe just a little too much of my taste, actually. Where is it? I think it's this colour here. It is. Let's just fade that out to a little more of the deep, just to blend it in a little more. There you go. I think it's a little more like that. Yeah. Right, Jupiter. No changes there. I shouldn't have clicked on it with the band menu open because Jupiter has quite a lot of bands, this custom version. So, yeah, we'll leave Jupiter alone. Saturn, again, I'm going to leave that alone because they're still prominent hydrogen. Neptune, again, I think that one's probably okay to not touch, actually. So, there you go. Titan, interesting. Still cooling down. Saturn, again, that's fine. The fifth giant, again, fine. It's mostly, you know, the ice giant materials kind of thrown in there. Or is it? Yeah, it is. Yeah, okay. Interesting mix of stuff. And then you got the Neptune as the last of the outer planets. So, again, less mass in its normal ice giant form. So those colours are okay. Looking good. It's just Uranus being the new marvel in this system. So let's go ahead and get our lineup now. That's roughly everything. So Uranus, not as large. The most massive, but not as large as the other two gas giants. Jupiter and Saturn are very close in this scenario. 10 radius of Earth on Jupiter. Saturn 9.49. Uranus 9.41, but way more massive. Very interesting lineup. Then you got the fifth giant actually being larger than Neptune in this case, mass and radius wise. So two of the ice giants. Planet X, largest of the rocky planets. Then you got Venus, the young Earth, because it hasn't collided with Theia to pick up that extra material. Mars, appearing larger than normal. You got Theia. Ceres, we need to visit Theia actually. Mercury, Titan is a fully fledged planet as well. The smallest planet in here. Pluto, well, Pluto's larger than normal. What's it in kilometres? 2100. Is that enough for a planet, you think? Debatable. But Mercury, Titan. Let's go ahead and visit Titan quickly. Oh, it orbits. Yep, Titan is there. Hasn't got its notable atmosphere yet. Still need a little more time to cool down. Let's go ahead and press play. Just get a bit of sim time. But I can already see some orbital problems with the fifth giant. This could be a bit interesting. Planet X, we wanted to customize you, didn't we? I mean, I already had a nice sort of template for it. Looking good. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay, looking good. Ooh, game's being a bit frozen here. There we go. Ooh, that's didn't like the look of that. Oh, that's made me paranoid. Let's go ahead and save. Replace. There you go. So pretty dark here. So obviously with the sunlight hasn't reached this region yet. I'm really pretty happy with the way it looks, to be honest. We'll just go with the old make the interface a little more easy so we can actually see it. Planet X. There you go. All composition, yes. Let's go ahead. I want to give it the. We're actually going to give it. I'm going to give it the pressure as well. I want to give it a nice mix of material in there. So, you know, one day, this could be a nice world. If this world survives, could be a good place to live one day. There you go. Said that, everyone with further out, they're your normal dwarf planets. Not too much excitement over there. So I'm going to leave those roughly as well. Maybe back a little more mass on some of these before we start running the simulation. Triton as well. You know what? Again, let's give it those, add a little more interest. Let's give it, I'm going to give it a magnetic field. Let's go one Earth. Triton. Get a little more protection. There it is, protected. And there we go. I'm going to give it the pressure of Earth. So a bit more composition in Triton. Could be interesting once it warms up. So there we go, Triton. The deep purple trail. So very similar orbit with Pluto at the moment, actually. You've got the other dwarf planets further out to represent some stuff. Now, back to the inner solar system. We didn't customize good old Theia. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to build it from scratch, I think. Let's go ahead and add some stuff to it. So it's already got all of its nice bits and pieces here. It doesn't have much in this department, though. I'm going to make Theia. I'm going to make it very, very water heavy. Let's go ahead and add some material to it. So water. I'm going to add a tad of carbon dioxide. Give it a bit of atmosphere. Oxygen will give you a nice level of oxygen in there. Nitrogen. You know, all the bits and pieces you need. Maybe a bit of ammonia. Just a few other little pieces in there as well. There you go. Looking good. Maybe a bit of argon as well. Why not? Just a few little bits and pieces in there. No sulfur dioxide. Carbon dioxide. I'm going to just halve that. To Theia. Could be an interesting world. We have to obviously lower that down. Also, we've got water on its surface automatically. See how Theia copes in here. Because we need to obviously let the simulation play to see how the temperatures and stuff start appearing. So Theia, going to give you a potentially blue trail for now. Mercury as well, also a world that could potentially be nice. I do like to try and have that nice looking Mercury in some of these, but Mercury never seems to last when we do it. Venus, your atmosphere is definitely not going to be looking like that from the get-go here. So we're going to fade that down. I need to take off the haze, turn that to none. There you go. So we can actually see under Venus. There we go. The surface colour as well. Not exactly what it needs to be just yet. So let's go ahead and go to elevation. Custom, so the young Venus, looking a little different than normal as well. Fade that atmosphere down. And fade those clouds as well. There you go. So the young Venus, looking a little more interesting than normal. Still got some thick clouds, but that's Venus. Venus all over there. Atmosphere colour. Maybe a very pale blue to begin with. There you go. So the young Venus. Now, go for the proper save. And let's now start to evolve this simulation. So we're locked in now. All I can do is customize appearances. I'm not allowed to modify stats anymore unless it's absolutely insane for some reason, but we shouldn't have that problem. So we're locked in, habitable zone on. That is your solar system for this scenario. So looking good. Now let's see. We start to press play. Uranus here could have a big impact. I think Jupiter could be under threat. You've also got Titan sitting in there. Could be under threat from picking up from Saturn. Fifth giant, Planet X, Neptune all in similar regions there. Could be interesting. The inner solar system as well. Theia, Earth. Close proximity. Could be very, very exciting if there's a collision. There you go. The young solar system's taken form. The sun itself may need to increase a bit of brightness once we get going as well. So far, so good. But that's all good. That's all going to be changing soon. Uranus, decent gap there. Out to Uranus. So, how are we settling down? So, still cooling down from the initial formation. Venus cold now. There you go. Mercury, minus 44. Theia, 700. What is going on there? Atmosphere layers. Let's have a peek. That's not quite right. I'm not sure how Theia's picked that up. Let's go ahead and wipe that down. See, this is the sort of stats that I would say are fixed. You know, anything ridiculous like this. I mean, I didn't intend it to have that. So, now why is it doing that? Have I given it too much of something? Let's put its temperature down, because that could also be an effect there. Let it cool down. Wipe that atmosphere down. Let it build up properly instead of having ridiculous stuff like that. Because, yeah, maybe it went a bit overkill with something. You know, if it's already hot and you add a load of water, obviously that water vapour is immediately going into the atmosphere, which is going to upset things. So if we properly tame it down, yes, it won't grow as fast now because the water is not stuff. But it's still building that atmosphere. So maybe Theia. Maybe it's a world doomed from the start with what I've given it. Interesting. It's building up quick though, isn't it? Sea level. Where's the albedo? How much is this object reflecting? That could be helpful to know as well. Where are we? Sea level. Infrared. Let's lower those down to 1 atmosphere layer. Don't want anything crazy there. There you go. Still building an atmosphere though. Interesting stuff. Okay. Albedo. So get a little more reflective. Maybe that'll help out a bit. Cool. Maybe Theia. There you go. Cooling down a bit. Okay. Yep. Mercury. Obviously the sun hasn't properly warmed up there. You've got the young Earth. Minus 16. Currently in an ice age kind of form. Okay. Mars. How are we doing over here? Minus 135. I mean, that's to be expected. What's Mars's atmosphere currently looking at stat-wise? Let's have a look. 180 M. So pretty solid. 17 infrared. Maybe turn up a little bit. Yeah. So Mars looking pretty solid. Just needs a bit of warmth. So let's go ahead and see Venus first. Closest object to the sun. What's Venus's atmosphere currently looking at? So pretty frozen out the old Venus. Currently an ice ball world. Atmosphere. Quite a low atmosphere. Yeah, we can buff that a bit more. We do want a bit more. So maybe a little more temperature on Venus. Warm up a bit. There you go. Oh no, the 180 M. What am I doing? Yeah. So the atmosphere on Venus building. It is the closest planet to the sun here. So it should be interesting. So the young Venus. Looking very, very interesting at the moment. Okay. Give it a slightly more... I like to give it a little more of the ray light. Let's make it a little more red. Atmosphere. Turn up a bit. Yeah, interesting look on the young Venus right now. There you go. Does it have a sea level? It does. Okay, so potentially a bit more warmth. It could be warming up. Mercury, next planet out. The inner planets are also our main focus for the time being. Simulation is running. We can disable the magnetic field for the time being. We don't need to see that, but it is protected. Mercury, atmosphere. What's going on here? Yep, 0.9 ATM. Very nice. It can also give it a nicer colour. A bit of a green appearance on the old Mercury. Make it a little more thicker. Clouds, increase on Mercury. There you go. Bit of life on the young Mercury here. Thick clouds, why not? An interesting composition for sure. Sea level can increase that a bit. Do want to have a bit of appearance on Mercury. There you go. Obviously, that water will disappear once the simulation really gets going. But the young Mercury, for now, currently, potentially a nice place to be. Stat-wise, it has got the stats, but how long will those stats last? Let's go ahead and have a little cheeky land on the young Mercury here. And there you go. Sun, nice view here. Actually, one thing that reminds me, I do need to change the rotation of the some of the planets. I mean, especially the inner planets, because Mercury's rotation is obviously in its normal slow speed. So I'm going to obviously give Mercury a bit more rotation than normal. 0.9 days, a little faster than the current day Earth. Venus, again, I want to have a... They're the two I really need to tamper with, because they're the ones with the crazy long ones. So Venus, again, 1.9 days on Venus. So yeah, a bit of rotation in the old Venus there, 'cause it needs a bit of, you know... Otherwise, the temperature grid's going to be a bit funky if it only been on one side. So get a bit more temperature spread around the young Venus there. Looking good. Cool. Right, the Earth. We haven't even visited the Earth hardly here. So how is the young Earth doing? There it is. Currently that IO texture underneath. It does obviously no sea level right now. Let's give it a bit more. There you go. So it does have its water, the young Earth. 57 degrees. Still not the place not the place we know yet. Life likelihood very, very poor. Look at that. It's obviously too hot at the moment, of course. So that will obviously all settle down. The colours. Haven't even got to the colours, have we? Let's go with a sort of a deep sort of colours for now. Yeah, nothing too wild. That's the main colour there. Look at that. Obviously no green at all. It's just a deep sort of grey, I think. A rock, just a rock. Pretty much to mix the other colours in a bit as well. Contrast a bit there. Turn the terrain up. Yeah. City lights only if habitable will turn on. So there you go. Clouds. There you go. Atmosphere is a little thicker than usual on the Earth. If you want to look underneath, that's what it looks like. So a barren world. See, not the place you want to be just yet. So the young Earth, everybody. Right, and there you go. Theia, the only other planet right now in the temperature zone. So there you go. So now, I'm pretty happy with the worlds where they are. So let's pop in the save. There you go. Lock onto the sun. And now let's actually really get some evolution time in this simulation before we start cranking the sun up. So there you go. Need to watch the outer solar system as well. Could be some potential changes in here. Uranus having that big presence with the big mass there. 1.09 Jupiter's more dominant than Jupiter. Could have some interesting changes here. So Uranus, 11-year orbit, 5 AU. Jupiter, 7 AU, 20-year orbit. So 2 AU away from Uranus. Could potentially have some long interesting impacts there. Titan, a small world in between massive giants. Again, a world under threat here after a long period of time. Let's really crank things out. And you see the wobble has begun. Instability. There's a lot of gas giants in close proximity. Planet X and Neptune going at it at the top there. Ooh, very close. Again, could be a wobble. Well, imagine if Planet X knocked Neptune on its side. That could be interesting. Also with the fifth giant tangled in there as well. But the wobble. There you go. Dwarf planets further out as well. Obviously the icy worlds formed at the edge. There you go. Let that simulation run. Titan, what's going on here? I think it's just sorting itself out because we did give it a bit of a weird old composition, didn't we? We did, didn't we? Yeah, where are we? Did we give it the Earth stuff? I'm not sure if we did, actually. But it's got the conditions it needs anyway. It just needs temperature for the old Titan. So let's go to here. Atmosphere. I'm going to turn off the Titan haze so we can actually properly customize it ourselves. Put that to 0. Give it its proper colour. There you go. One thing I like to do with Titan is make it actually more on the red side, with maybe more of a blue appearance. You get quite a nice colour contrast on it. So there you go. It's looking a bit interesting. Let's thicken it up a bit more. Titan is Titan. There you go. And you get quite a nice look with the blue and the red contrast there. Minus 208 Celsius. Inner solar system. How are we doing here? The orbits. How's the old Earth? So Earth, Theia. Look at the Earth, Theia. So Theia's orbit has been bent out a bit. Look, originally they were both placed at roughly around 1 AU. I think Theia was 1.02. Earth was on 1. So Theia slightly slung out a bit, but still in the fight. In that 1 AU region. We'll have to wait and see when they get close together, see if we can spot the other one in the night sky. Could be very interesting. They're going to take a while to catch each other up, though, or are they? Earth, Theia, nearby proximity at the moment. There you go. Earth trail's a bit dark, isn't it? We need a bit more of the old blue from Earth. There you go. You can actually see him. There he is. Okay. So while that's all playing out, you go. Mercury, also close encounters with the Earth. How are we doing here? So is any world actually decent at the moment? Mercury, 25 Celsius. A very, very early days in the solar system. Mercury, currently the world to be. Venus, minus 80. Hasn't got the temperature yet. Mercury, just sitting at a very, very nice place at the moment. What's this atmosphere looking at? So 1.28 ATM. Looking good. What is Venus in that case? So Venus, yeah, a little lower. Yeah, 0.4. Venus doesn't have it here. Mercury, the warmest planet. And a very nice place to be in this early stage of the solar system. going by Earth there. But you know, its place close to the sun could be a costly one. But yeah, Mercury. Just done it. So hours, how many? So 22-hour day. Pretty solid. Its orbit seems to be behaving itself. Not many change. Looking pretty nice. Going around the sun nice and clean there. Not too much problems. In the solar system, potentially in a good position. But Earth and Theia. It's always up to those two, isn't it? Where it comes down to Mars on the outer edge of the Earth and Theia. Looking good. There's some very cool planetary alignments of all of these in here. Very nice, busy inner solar system. Ceres is a full-size planet as well for extra interest as well. A little further out. Still very hot here now. Is that? Why is that? 370. Again, this isn't really what I intended. I don't want it being having that. I'm going to lower it down a bit. Maybe no. So that will put it to 1.45. Yeah, 2 atmosphere layers. So Ceres, hopefully cool it down a bit. Have to come back to him later. Theia currently at -55. Earth -131. Nowhere near the level yet. So obviously Earth has its normal, roughly its normal atmosphere there. So a little lower than, but you know, has all its normal stats. So it's just a matter of time. Sun needs a bit of warmth, warm that ice up. Because you know, once you get a bit of water vapor in the atmosphere, that's where, you know, water vapor even worse than carbon dioxide for the greenhouse effect, I believe. So once you get a load of that up in the atmosphere, ooh, that's where the runaway greenhouse starts. Mercury, very close encounter with Earth right now. Look at this. Well, I say close. Close proximity. See the Earth in the distance. Is it spottable? It is not. Turn the goggles on or off. There it is. Hey, look at that. Hey, there you go. The Earth. Nearby world in the sky. Looking good on the old Mercury. Very nice. Goggles off. Again, Mercury looking like a nice place to be. Can we turn on the vegetation? It is habitable. If habitable is enabled. So Mercury, currently a very, very nice place to be. City lights, again, if habitable. So it will switch them on. Mercury, civilization. In the young days, I mean, obviously life will take a long time to form. But, you know, for the fun of this video, life on Mercury at this stage in the solar system. Very, very nice. So, yeah, beautiful place to be, the old Mercury. There you go. What's its stats? 34, 83. Magnetic field protection. Mercury, looking great. There he is. Let's go have another land on the beautiful world. The green atmosphere, green surface. There we go. Where's our sun? Nice, very nice place to be. There you go. Look at that. Where's the sun? Labels on. Got Jupiter flying around. We're rotating. Oh, it's sunset. We're looking the wrong way. There you go. There's the sun. So let's go ahead and watch the sun go round. So it should be looking on this side of the world. Let's let it rotate round. Uranus, the dominant gas giant in the sky over there. Sunrise, looking nice. Get a nice look of it. Green sky, very cool. It's nice, nice atmosphere on Mercury. There you go. Good old sunrise there. Looking pretty spectacular. Sky changes a little more blue in the daytime, as you can see. Sun, obviously quite large in the sky, yeah? A little closer than normal. I mean, where's Mercury sitting? So it's roughly 0.8 AU. 9-month orbit, so in days, 288 days. A lot more than its normal orbit in real reality. So there we go. Let's get evolve a bit more before we finish up for today. So there you go, everybody. Looking good. Inner solar system, Earth and Theia. They're the two to watch, I think. Further out, so far so good, but that's not going to last forever. You know how the drill. Planet X and Fifth Giant, their orbits are crossing. Ooh, okay. Titan, I'm surprised Titan's holding on so far, but you know, I think Saturn Jupiter are going to pick him up at some point. There you go, a bit more wobble. But yeah, so far, very, very interesting stuff. Outer dwarf planets, of course, wobbling around. Now, the question I think here is, like in real life, Neptune migrated out. That if we do that, that could create instability with Saturn, Fifth Giant, and Planet X. Now, I'll leave that up to you guys in the comments here as we finish up for today. Do we migrate Neptune out, which could cause instability? Let us know in the comments, yes or no. What do you think? Should be an interesting one. If Neptune migrates out, you know, could cause that instability there. Planet X, Fifth Giant, it could be under real problems. So, and obviously Neptune will move to the Kuiper Belt area, could pick up some dwarf planet moons. So, let me know, what do you want to see there? Look at the Fifth Giant's orbit. Look how it's been bent out of place. That's very interesting. Look at that. Off the main plane. Very, very interesting stuff. There you are. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and plop the save in there for today. that finishes it for today's video, everybody. So if you enjoyed it, press that like button, subscribe for more, help us on the journey to 50,000 subscribers, everyone, as we are so close to it, less than 500 people away. So make sure to press the subscribe button if you haven't already. And yeah, let me know your feedback down below in the comments. Interested to hear your thoughts on this alternate reality. I mean, so far it hasn't gone into absolute chaos, but maybe if we move Neptune out, let me know. Maybe that will cause some drama. We will see. But yeah, that will send down, everybody. Make sure you guys all have a great day out there. Stay safe. And I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.